Hi guys, Manaya here from the Dragon's Gem. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these stone dangle earrings that are made with stones that are about 1.75 inches long by about 1/2 inch wide, and they're woven with 20 gauge wire and 28 gauge wire. The stones are drilled at the top, so if you don't have something that's a similar shape that's drilled at the top, you might need to figure out a way to work around it. But these stones have been pretty popular um, with the gem show that just is wrapping up in Tucson. And let me bring those right here so you can see. But I've seen a lot of people with these right now from that gem show, and this is the wrap that I came up with that I really liked for it. So I'm going to show you how to do this wrap. There we go. Sorry, I had to get it to focus. I'm going to show you how to wrap these stones, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you will be kind enough to subscribe and to ring the bell to get notifications for when new videos are posted. I do have an Instagram and a Facebook channel that I try to post things to fairly regularly as well. And if I can get 200 followers on my on my Facebook channel, on my Facebook page, then I will do a live auction on Facebook for jewelry items that will start with wholesale prices and then go up from there on bidding. If that's something that you might be interested in, please give it a look, see what you think. There will be Etsy links below, Etsy, Instagram, YouTube down below, Facebook down below, and then I'm also going to include an Amazon affiliate list, links to all the tools and materials that I use in this video. So anything that you might need to make these earrings will be in the video description down below. And then towards the end of the video, or if I can remember to try to do it in the middle, I will. But towards the end of the video, I'm going to have a link that should be popping up. I think right here will be for how to make earring wires if you want to make your own instead of using pre-made ones. So these are the earrings that I made to go with this necklace. They're both larvikite, which is really pretty. And this necklace is a hidden bail. The bail does not show from the front. If you want to learn how to make this type of necklace with the hidden bail, leave a comment down below and let me know that you want it, and I will try to get a tutorial made for this as well. I've got a partial tutorial up that kind of goes over how to do it, but I don't have an in-depth one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh, I need to mention before we get started, be absolutely really careful with your stone when you're working with these. And I say that in the beginning, but let me just stress it again now. Be very careful, because especially if you're doing stones that have a hole drilled in the top where it's narrow, the narrower the stone is, the easier it is to crack and break. And I did crack one of these towards the end because I was in a hurry to finish it. I did fix it with some 2-part epoxy, and they're my earrings. I would never sell those to somebody. If something were to break like that, I could not in good consciousness go ahead and list it for sale. But if they're for you and they break, don't worry about it too much. 2-part epoxy is really magic, and it will help fix anything that breaks. But if you have any other questions, leave a comment and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks.
For this project, you will need 2 sections of 10 to 12 inch 20 gauge dead soft wire. More wire will allow for a more complex pattern. Approximately 10 yards of 28 gauge dead soft wire. 2 earring hooks, 2 4mm jump rings, flush cutters, nylon jaw pliers, needle nose, bent nose pliers, 6-step bail pliers or round nose pliers, and flat jaw pliers, which are optional.
Okay. So I'm going to straighten my wire while it's still on the spool, and I'm using my nylon jaw pliers for that because it won't damage the wire and it will help just smooth it out so that it's easier to work with. And then this also helps work harden it so that our finished product is not too terribly soft. Okay, I've done what I can with the tools. I'm going to use my hand just a little bit, and it's not going to be perfect. I mean, you can see I've still got some curvature to it because it still wants to curve, but it's straight enough for my purposes. And I've straightened more than I need because I'm not sure how much I'm cutting off. I was doodling kind of what I might want to try to do with designs for these. I had these earrings done at first. I was just going to do the stone and keep it simple. Just do a wrapped loop up at the top and put the earring hook on and call it a day. Didn't want to take away from how pretty the shine of the stone was, but then I thought I can do something else that won't take away from the stone, that will still add to it. So that's what I'm going to do with this larva kite, because I want to make something that's going to go well with this other necklace, this necklace that I've got here, which I did the tree of life on. And this tree of life, as you can see, has no bail because the bail is hidden on the back, so that when you wear it, it just focuses on the tree and the stone, and I really enjoy that. If you would like a tutorial on how to do this necklace and how to do this hidden bail on the back, leave a comment down below and let me know, and I will try to get one made. So I'm going to cut a piece that is 10 inches long, and then we're basically going to be folding it in half. So let's see, I'm going to measure 10 inches. So let's see, that is 20 to 10 would be right here. Alright, and now I'm going to use this piece to measure and cut a second one of the same length. And I have 2 different pairs of wire cutters, flush cutters that I like to use. I have one pair that I have accidentally damaged. I don't know if you can see the, there we go. I don't know if you can see the damage that I've done to them, but there's like, the edges are kind of chewed up because I cut wire that was too heavy in gauge, and so it just kind of damaged them. So now I keep one for my heavier gauge wire and then one for my thin gauge. So you can see this one's not damaged, and it will cut wire smoothly and leave a nice clean cut. Highly recommend doing that because it's so easy to use the wrong pliers on the wrong gauge wire. Okay, I'm going to take my 6-step bail making pliers, and I want to keep my bail minimal, so I think I'm going to use the second one, and I want to grab right in the middle. So that's going to be about right here. 5 inches in was going to be the middle. And then I'm just going to pull the wire straight down And I'm not grasping real hard because I don't want to dent the wire. So all I've done is pull the wire straight down and then cross it on that side so that it's wrapping around the loop. And now I'm going to grasp these two pieces. I'm going to uncross it a little bit. I actually need it more like a V, like this. This is why you should always watch tutorials all the way through first, because then you won't make the same mistakes that I make. Let's see. So I'm just going to twist it one time 180 degrees so that I've got a little twist like this, just something to lock it in place. And because I want to keep things mirrored, we're going to do the other piece also at the same time. I know before I have done one earring to show you and then done the other one as we went along, and I talked to you about how to mirror, but today we're going to make this together and we're going to mirror it so that you can see my process for mirroring. So again, now because I want these to be opposites, I did twist this one. When I twisted this one, I twisted it this way. I twisted it away from me, and I think that this wire was probably laid on top as well. Let me see. So that was like that. No, I think the other one was on top. Yeah, so with the first one, when my wires crossed, this wire was underneath this wire. So now I have this wire on top of that wire, and I'm going to twist towards myself. Is that right? No. Oh my gosh. I'm editing this out. Okay, so there's that. I twisted this way. Okay, so first time I did it, I twisted towards myself. This time I'm twisting away from myself. So I guess that's like 2 full turns. So now you can see we've got the same wires, but they've got opposite twists. On this one, the wire on top is coming out and pointing to the right, and on this one, the wire on top is coming out and pointing to the left. And even if I flip them over, see, I only flipped one, the top wire is still coming out to the right. And if I take this one, the top wire is to the left, and I flip it over, the top wire is still to the left. So now they mirror each other, and that's our goal. I'm just going to straighten this a bit. So the way I think I'm going to do this is to go ahead and thread on one of these stones, and I'm going to pull the wire up just a bit and bend it so that the space where they cross, I want that to sit at the top of the stone. So if you can see, that's a stone. Here's where the wires cross at the bottom of the twist. I want that to be at the top of my stone. And you might have to fuss with it a bit and finagle. And then my back wire, the one that's not going through the stone, I'm going to grasp this loop and pin the loop and the stone in my hands, in my fingers. And here's the back to try to show you what I'm doing. And I'm pulling that back wire straight down. And then this is the wire that we posted through the hole. And I'm going to bend that straight down also. So now on the back of my stone, I've got the 2 wires coming straight down. So here's the front. Zoom. So here's the front of it, and then here is the side view, and here's the back. So what I want is for there to be enough clearance for me to lay these beside each other like this, and then I want to weave a 2 probably do something simple like a 5-2. We'll do 5 around 1 and 2 around 2. But let me match this over here first. So let's see. On this one, my wire that was coming out on top, I put through the hole. So the wire that was coming out on top of the twist, I'm sticking through the hole in the earring, and I'm backing it out just a bit. So it's down, I'm backing it out just a bit so that I can bend it up and have the bottom of that twist be at the top of that wire, or be at the top of the stone. And let's go ahead and bend this wire straight down while it's through there, and then that'll give us a little more leverage to be able to get that twist into place so that the circle is okay. And then this other wire right here, we're going to take towards the back. Just straight over the back. Let's see. So here's from the back. I'll just give that a little twist so that they line up the same way. Let's see. So this one probably needs a little bit more length, just like a millimeter. So I'm going to lift that wire back up some. I'm pressing it with my thumb to help move it up. And I actually want to kind of straighten it out, so I'm just kind of pulling out the bend using the stone as leverage for that. And I'm moving it just a fraction, just enough so that now my loop is more easily on top without it pressing against the stone and wanting to lean to the left or the right so bad. And I'm going to press those back down and pet them into place. Now I'm going to compare them again. Let's see, it's front and back. Yeah, so that'll work. And just to keep things mirrored again, the wire that's coming from the top of the stone that's coming around, this one goes to the left, and I want this one to go to the right. So I'm just gonna move it over, just like that. Alright, so I'm going to take some 28 gauge wire to weave around my 20 gauge. And I'm using a combination of parawire and artistic wire. So use whatever you have. And I'm going to work with this wire on the spool, but I'm just kind of going through and doing the same thing that I did with the 20 gauge and kind of making sure that I've got it straightened. So I'm going to pull the length off, and then I'm going to clip a little clip back onto it so it doesn't unravel. And then I'll work with it on the spool like that. And I'm going to start, just going to kind of wiggle this stone out of the way. Move this camera a bit. so I don't keep going out of frame as much. I'm going to wiggle the stone out of the way, and I'm going to start with the bottom wire, and I'm going to go around it 3 times. That's just to kind of lock it in. And I'm going to compress the wire, compress my coils, and we'll slide this all the way down. Actually, before I do that, I should probably trim this. So I take my decent flesh cutters and I'm just going to trim that tail as close to it as I can. I'm going to move this camera again because I cannot find a spot that works to keep from going off a camera. And I take some pliers and I'm just going to press that end down so we don't have any pokey bits. You don't want it to snag in hair or scratch on skin or anything like that. Even though they're earrings and they're going to be dangling, you just want to make sure. Alright, so I've got 3 around the bottom one, and we're going to do 2 around the top. Well, 2 around both. And as I'm going, I'm going to keep straightening my wire, and I'm going to keep compressing my weave. So I've got 2 around both. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 around 1, and I'm just compressing that together, and I'm going to do 1, 2 around both. And then 5 around the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Keep missing it. 3, 4, and 5. Then 2 around both. I do apologize for the adjusting. I'm just trying to make sure that I get this in a place where I can stay on camera for you guys. And compress. So when I am wrapping these wires like this, when I'm weaving my weaving wire around, I'm pulling it where I want it to be, and then I'm pinching with my thumb to hold it in place, and then I go between the 2 wires, and then I'm pushing down with my thumb and pulling tight with my bottom hand to help pull that wire and push it and lock it into place all at the same time. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to fix that little bit right there, and that's compressed down. I'm gonna smooth that. I'm pulling the wire over and I'm holding it in place, and then I'm coming between these 2 wires. I've come between the 2 wires, and now I am pushing with my thumb and pulling with my fingers. And I'm not doing it very hard either, and that locks that coil into place. And I'm going to do that again. And it's hard to stay on camera when I'm zoomed in this much. And see how it just slides right in there? And so I don't even have to like compress after each coil. We can go a little bit and then compress. And now with my thumbnail, I just push and see how they're like nice and tightened up. All right, so I am going to do the rest of this, and I will either see you back here when I'm done, or I will put it in fast forward. But I will talk to you when I am done weaving this section. And if it's hard to weave, you can separate these ends a little bit. That way it'll make it easier to land the wire in between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I've done that little bit. You can always, if your fingernails aren't up to the task, you can always take your nylon jaw pliers and just close them enough to where they're on the wire. You don't have to squeeze with a death grip. Simply close them on the wire until they're touching the wire, and then squish. That's all you're doing, is just squishing the wire down so that it compresses on itself. And now, see how nice and compressed that is? And that's all you do. Oop, wrong way. Okay, let's see. And if you lose count at some point while you're doing this, you stop to compress and you're like, wait a second, did I do 5 or did I do 4? It's not going to hurt you if you did 4 or if you do 6. Just go on to your 2, do what you think is right. It's a very minimal change and it's not going to be noticeable. And as I'm working this, I'm keeping my grip close to my weaving point. That way I don't pull the wires and bend them down. I'm trying to keep things as shapely, and I'm trying to keep them as nice and neat as possible. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2. Whoops. 2, 3. 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Got a little bit twisted there. So I'm going to show you something. I went and did those last few wraps like really sloppy, And see how nice and neat and tidy and compressed we are here? And it starts getting looser and looser and looser. See how that just compresses in on itself? But if you push too hard, you can make your wire bend. It'll like go dink and make a Z. So try to do this every so often. That way you don't risk having to bend your wire. And yep. So there we are. And if you've got little spots like this where they aren't just perfectly together, you can just nudge them with your fingers, with your fingernail. It's not gonna hurt it. It won't make too much of a difference if they're not perfectly together. And now I'm just testing to make sure that my stone can still words are hard. It's hard to talk and do things at the same time. All right, so it's a little bit tight. My stone, when I had it loose out of the way like that, it almost didn't want to go back into place because I want this bar to come straight down the back. But I just braced it and slowly worked it, and it went back over the top of the stone like it needed to be. I'm going to continue weaving. I'm basically going to weave this whole length, except for like this last little bit right here. Okay, I gotta show you something. I did the thing that I was warning you not to do about pushing too hard, and yeah, so if this happens to you, don't freak out. It is totally fixable. I'm just going to start at the bottom, and I'm coming down here, and I'm grabbing with my nylon jaws to just very gently work things back in shape the way they should be. And our design is going to have twists and turns and curves, so maybe this can work for us. But I'm just very gently applying pressure, a little bit at a time. Oh, man, I hate when this happens. It's the worst. I wish that I had like some needle nose nylon jaws where I could just get in there and really get it, because there is, see how it's bent right like that? So the nylon jaws can't get in there very well, but I can take these flat nose pliers, and actually like these, they're pretty and smooth, and they don't scratch up my wires as easily as others. But I can kind of try and get in there and get close to where that area is and bend it. And so see, now it's straighter. I'm going to do that with the other side also. So obnoxious. All right, I'm going to keep wrapping, and I'll be back. And you'll see, when we're done, you won't even be able to tell that that happened. A lot of little mistakes like that can be easily corrected. Okay, so I have finished. I finished weaving the lengths on the back, and you will see that I am still mirroring, because if I put these together, you'll see the coils are, gosh darn it, I messed it up somehow. It was mirrored, I think. Okay. All right, let me show you what's going on. I was trying to have it mirrored so that, where's the camera? The coils would be on the outside on both sides. But somehow, when I was weaving, I didn't notice this wire right here was supposed to lay on that side, and it didn't. It moved. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my nylon jaw pliers. I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to hold this wire, and I'm just going to kind of rotate, and you can see it started to twist it. And I'm going to get up real close to the top, and I'm grabbing where it's flat again, and I'm just rotating, trying to get that wire to twist over itself. So now, if I continue my careful twisting, and I go down the length and flatten it out, bam! My coil's on the inside on that one, and my coil's on the inside on this one. Woo-hoo. I'm happy. If I put it, then it's on the outside on each. They're mirrored. Whew, okay. Sometimes it's easy to fix the problems, and sometimes it's not. This time was easy enough. So, let's see. I'm going to hold that against there a little bit better, and like this, just try to press that down. I don't want to break my stone doing this, but I need to get that wire a little bit closer against the stone. So very gentle squishes. Okay, that's better. Just take it right like this. Okay, I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get it. So let's see. My stone to get from the, well, and I really apologize for the noise in the background. That would be my cats. They are playing in an empty Coke box. I've got fosters right now, so there's a lot of cats in the house. Alright, so from the twist down to the bottom of the stone is about 1 3/4 of an inch. And what I would like to do is fold this straight up, do some wiggles, and maybe wrap it around the top there. Which means I would need over double than that. So 1 3/4. I don't quite have enough to do it like that. So what I'm going to do instead, I think, is come around from this outside, and I'm going to just bend this wire up so that I'm keeping I want the hook to be oriented, I want the loop to be oriented at the top as even as possible, and I want this wire to come out to the side. And for my orientation, you can do it different for yours. I want my, I guess if you would call the 2 around 2, if you'll call those wraps the teeth, then like my teeth are pointed up. So just to show you what I've got going on here. I'm keeping that oriented as upright as I can. My wire is swooping off to the side. I feel a little bit of a snag right here from where my wire started. So I'm just going to like burnish the edge of that with my tool. And there we go. It's no longer like that. And I did leave a little bit of a tail end on this just in case I wanted to like finish out the thing with a coil. I'm not sure yet. So from the front, I'm holding this in position. I'm pressing down with my thumb so that it's pushed flush against the front. And I'm just going to bring my wrap, I'm going to bring my weave around to the front. Let me zoom back out. And I'm going to flatten it on the top of that. And then trying to keep it flat as I work. Holding it in place with my thumb, I want to bend it back on itself so that it's kind of made this little curly shape. And then I'm going to fold it around again. And I'm pressing that shape down so that it stays flat. And then from this side, I'm going to wrap it around again. I'm going to look at it and see what I think of it. I think I'm going to do a tight curve like that and go around behind it one more time. And I'm just going to tighten this, make sure that it's nice and tight. And I think I will finish this coil out, wrapping it. Oops. I kind of wish that I had left a little bit longer or that I had finished this a little bit more, but we work with what we got. Just going to pull that out of the way and move this like that, and we'll just wind it like that to finish it. And I'm going to squish that down and take those, and so now I've smushed that wire down, no pokey bits. So now that's going to give me just a little bit of coiled wire to come around the front again. So again, that's where we are currently. I think I'm going to separate these and do a coil right here maybe. Kind of feel like maybe that would be a good idea. Oh, I'm going to put it on the back. I think I'm going to leave the front clean. Just like that. So I'm going to clip this one out right there. I'm going to leave a little bit to grab onto with the other one. Let's see. I'm going to take my needle nose, round nose pliers. They're really fine. I like how fine they are, and just grab at the tip and rotate inward. Sorry, sometimes doing this stuff on camera doesn't feel as right as doing it off camera. If you can hear the cats meowing in the background, that will be my Fosters. They are big talkers, but they have been adopted and they're going to their forever homes in Maine. Alright, so I've got that one coiled to the top like that. And I'm going to take this one right here. I'm going to compress this coil a little bit more. And we'll start a little coil for this right here. And I'm going to pull this away from the stone just a bit and squish it with my nylon jaws. And I'm trying to squish real hard because what I want to do right now, as much as keep it flat, I want to also work harden it so it's stiff, so that now when I push this back down and push it in place, I want the wire to stay. I don't want it to go anywhere. So now I've got one, and that's the back. And I've got the coils tight and closed so that they're less likely to snag on things. Running it against my shirt, I'm not getting any snags, that's good. To match these, I want my curve on this one to come around from the inside and swipe in. So I'm going to bring I'm going to hold it straight and try to keep that in place. And I'm going to bring my weave out and to the left. My teeth are up. Let's see, are we coming out about the same place? Looks pretty similar. And we're going to wrap it around to the front. And now I'm comparing it again because I want to make sure that it comes out about the same place. And it looks like it's pretty close. This one might be up a little bit higher, but that might also move around as I do it, but still I'm going to try to mimic that curve. And again, we're trying to keep this wire flat as we do that. So see, this wire started to try and twist up. I'm just going to gently lay it back down flat with my fingers. If it won't work with your fingers, use your nylon jaws. And we'll bring this back in on itself. And right here on the side, the wire is starting to want to stick outwards rather than lay flat against the stone like this one is. So in this one, I think I will just kind of press gently with my nylon jaws, just a little bit at a time, because I do not want to crack my stone. And if you're pressing wire against stone, you know, the wire's harder, so it's gonna want to give, the stone's gonna want to crack first, and I don't want my stone to crack, so I'm just very gently trying to push that back down. All right, let's see how I match up for curves. Similar enough. Could be better. See if I can actually make it better. So this is my Foster that has decided to lay down right in the middle of what we're doing. Don't chew on that. Don't chew on it. Okay. He is abandoning. All right. So I think I've got that a little bit better. I'm going to lay this back down. And I'm pulling the weave back and wrapping it around the back. So, do I have a match? This one slants downward more, and this one's more straight out, so I'm just going to fiddle with it a little bit more to try to make that slant the same. The stones aren't 100% the same width, I don't think, so that can be an issue. But as long as it's close enough, because they're on opposite sides of your head, so people aren't going to see them side by side like this anyway. It's closer. I can be more or less happy with that. So now I'm going to bring it around from the other side, and I want to wrap down at the bottom and mirror this one. And you just got to work with it slowly, a little bit at a time, and compare it. And again, this one slants downward, and this one, when I'm wrapping, I'm wanting to wrap more straight. So it's just maybe if I go like this. There, that's a little better slanting down. So I'm going to pin that in place and push that to the back. And now let's look at it again. Pretty close. Sorry, I keep going off camera. So this is what we got so far. When you hold them apart like that, you know, and they're on other sides of your head, people aren't going to notice the tiny imperfections. I mean, we notice because we are our own worst critics. And so we can see where we go wrong, but other people won't. At least that's what people tell me when I worry about it. So that's what I'm telling you. You know, maybe one of us will be able to actually believe it. All right. Around to the back. I'm not messing with it anymore. Okay. Going to trim this again. Trim that wire. And I'm gonna just cinch that down. To make sure it is nice and flush. There we go. Then I'm going to trim that just enough so I can grab it. I'm sorry, I was off camera again. Let me zoom back out. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to grab towards the end of my wire with my pliers, and we're just going to very gently rotate it in. And I want my circles to close. You know, you're going for a nice closed loop. That way it's less likely to get caught in stuff like your hair. So on this one, it looks like I measured the weaving. I thought I measured the weaving, but it came out a little bit longer. But that's okay. It's the back. The back isn't as visible. So I probably should have just done a few more repetitions. I thought it measured up, but it didn't. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this one. Make sure that that's a nice closed loop. And I'm going to do just like I did with the other one, and I'm going to pull these out, pull those up a little bit, and I'm going to get in there with my nylon jaw pliers, and I'm going to smush, because I want those loops to be nice and firm and not so willing to pry up and get caught. So smush, smush, smush to work harden them and flatten them, and then I will press them back down. And there you go. I like it. If I was to do anything at the top, no, Lucy. Let me pick up these little wire scraps or she will start eating copper, and that's not good for kitties. You can see she is just laying right there watching my work. I'm going to cut off a short piece of this 21 gauge to play with and see if I can do something around the top that I like that's decorative. I think I do like that better. I think it is more finished. So I'm going to trim this bit. And let's see, can I tuck it in under itself? So I'm just tucking it right in under there. So there it is. See, I tucked the end in right under there. And I've brought the wrap on the top up high, kind of like a scarf. And I don't think I will leave it like that. I think I will lower it just a bit. And then I'm gonna take this, yeah, so see, I've lowered it. It is just wrapped around the neck of it now. And I'm going to fold this over the top and tuck it down inside with these nice needle nose pliers. Just press it in. And with my nylon jaws, I'm just going to do a last adjustment to the neck of this so that it is nice and lined up and even and in its final position. We'll zoom out just a bit. So I like that a lot better compared to this. It seems a little more finished. You don't have to add that piece on there. I did, because the neck just felt bare compared to everything else. So I'm gonna get another little length of 20 gauge, which I need to have it longer than this piece by about like that. So the 20 gauge piece that I was using to wrap around it is probably around 6 inches. And I'm still going to try to mirror everything that I'm doing. So on this one, my coil was wrapping counterclockwise. So on this one, I want to wrap clockwise. No, wait, this way is clockwise. It was wrapping clockwise. So on this one, I'm going to wrap counterclockwise. And I'm just trying to keep a nice, tight, stacked coil. Just to cover up that twisted mess. Let's see, I've got the top up about as high as I want it, and I'm going to finish off the bottom. And I'm going to compare these two together, so I probably want to go a little bit more on this. We'll do one more wrap on the bottom. And we'll tuck it on the side for this one. There we go. Tuck it right on that outside. Although that's going up too high. I think that one just had a longer neck. Alright, so trim. And I'm gonna trim, and I'm leaving maybe about 1 centimeter, half a centimeter, something like that. I'm gonna take my needle nose, or my fine tip bent nose again, and just grab. Let me see if I can zoom in while I'm doing this one. Okay, where are we? Alright, so I'm grabbing and twisting in and down, and then I'm just kind of squishing it down in there. And now this was a little bit too long, so I'm going to use my flesh cutters and get in there and just nip a teeny tiny bit off the edge, off the tip of that. There we go. You just got to be careful not to cut your actual loop. You only want to cut this. So now I'm going to press it down. That way it can't get stuck in our hair. And then this side is going to come wrap around. I'm going to tuck it under. There we go. Right under like that. Shoot. So that's what I was trying to be careful of. The tip of this stone just cracked as I was trying to lock that wire in place. I am going to use some 2-part epoxy to try and fix this. That makes me really sad. I did say we had to be careful, and I got so close to finishing, and it didn't work because I was not careful enough. So that's the design, and at least they're for me. If I was going to be selling these, I wouldn't sell this. I wouldn't want to sell something that's already been repaired, but it's just for me, so I'm going to glue that and I will wear them. And I will work on the next pair for my store, and I'm going to make them just like this, and I'm not going to crack them, but oh, don't worry about it. It's a learning curve. That's why whenever I make stuff, the thing that I learn on is generally from me. So like this was my first tree that I made that had no bail. And it's not perfect on the back. It's got a little lopsided. It's a little not quite perfectly circular. And the tree, when it hangs on me, is a little slanted to the side. But I learn on my stuff, and then I put it in the store when I have perfected it. But I'm still really happy with this. I like those a lot better than just the plain like this. If you do try to do these earrings, again, I will just reiterate, be very careful with when you're manipulating the wire up around the top. You might not do the decorative piece like I put on there, and you'll be less likely to have the same problem that I did. I'd really love to know what you think about this tutorial. I'm still trying to find my groove. It's been a couple months since I made one. Leave your comments below, and I would like to know if you want to learn how to make this tree of life on the hidden bail. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, I have taken some 2-part epoxy glue to this and let it cure overnight. We are actually in the morning now. We have time traveled. And you can see there's just a little bit of shine up at the top for it, but the rest of the stone shines also. So it kind of works. It blends in. So I'm going to be okay wearing that. I would never sell a pair like that to someone unless I like disclosed it and they were just like, I love it anyway, I have to have it. But I'm going to go ahead and take my earring wires, and I just have some pre-made hoops. Or some pre-made wires. I didn't make these. I do have a video that will show you how to make these if you would like. It will be down in the, or actually no, I'll put a link at the end of this video to how to make earring wires if you want to make your own. But I'm just gonna attach a small jump ring, and I wanted something small, like 4mm, so that it would be less, I wanted it to be minimal, just a little bit of a dangle. So I coiled and cut these jump rings from 16 gauge hair wire, and I'm just attaching the jump ring to the earring first. If you didn't want to have jump rings connecting, if you wanted your earring to attach closer to the hook, then you could have done so by simply making your loop that way instead of this way. But the way I've got it, I need the jump ring in order to attach the earring hook and have it hang the correct way. I need to open that more. So I'm just opening the hoop just like I would a jump ring, and I am hooking the jump ring on, and now I will close the loop back up, and there we go, it dangles. Let's see if I can, my phone does not want to bend that way. Alright, here we are with both of the earring hooks attached. And they're done. Thank you guys for following along while we made these earrings. I hope that you were able to learn a lot from my mistakes and errors. I actually really debated about if I should post this video or not to start with, because in the end an earring broke and it made me, sorry, that was a cattail. I was really unhappy when it broke at the end, but you know, I was able to use the 2-part epoxy to secure it, and I will be okay wearing it. I'd never sell it to a customer like that without fully disclosing it and letting them make that decision. It's just me. I care. But I do think that they will wind up going nice with my Tree of Life pendant. I will be oxidizing these and polishing them up, and then they should go pretty well together, I think. If you can hear a bell jingling right now and weird noises, that is a kitten who thinks that she needs to be part of this. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you make your own pair, I'd love to see them. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, and well, I just pretty much stick to Instagram and Facebook for sharing, but you can find me as the Dragon's Gem. There will be links in the comments down below, and there should be a video popping up, or a link to a video popping up for making your own earring hooks. Subscribe to my channel. The more subscribers I get, the better things I can offer you. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Make sure to tag me and share the earrings that you make. I'd love to see yours. Bye!